So in this video, I am going to demonstrate how to attach more coil to your coil pot. So Sylvia volunteered to let me use her coil pot. Her color that she's currently using is white, so I am going to attach white to the needle. First things first, just like when you're attaching a new piece of yarn, you have to tape down your old yarn to your coil. So I'm going to tape very quickly with a little piece of tape my yarn to my coil, and then I can cut off my needle. And make sure you have enough space to cut your coil, the tip of your coil at the end. You have to cut it diagonal so that these two pieces will fit together. So right now, as you can see, if I put them on top of each other, they would be really thick. But what I'm going to do is cut diagonal so that both pieces will fit into one another. The coil is a little rough at first, so it might take a few times to break in. But now you can see it's diagonal. And I'm going to do the same thing on one of my other ends of my new coil. And then I'm going to place them together. So when you place them together, you see it's a little rough around the edges, but you can tape that. You just want to make sure that the thickness is the same as the coil around it. So you can go ahead, grab a piece of tape. Doesn't have to be too big. Hold it together. If you need someone to help you, you can ask a friend if they could hold it while you tape. And you just wrap the tape around the coil. So that it's connected. Just like any other section where you added more yarn, it's just like we left off there. So you're going to take your needle, you're going to thread your yarn, put your yarn through the eye of your needle, and then double the yarn so that the sides are even on both ends. So I'm going to pull through. You guys are pros at this point. And then once I have my yarn, I'm going to go to the tail of the yarn, make sure it's even. If it's not exactly even, you can cut it. Okay, so now it's even. At this point, you could tape this end of the yarn to the coil if you'd like. I prefer not to, because then it's just adding more and more tape. So what I like to do is just start wrapping the tail onto the end with the tape. And then once it's secured down with a few wraps, you won't have to worry about the yarn moving. So I'm going to go to the edge so I cover all the tape. And I'm pulling nice and tight so that it's the same thickness as the other coil. You can move the coil over with your fingers to make sure it's covering that tape. And then after you've wrapped 5 times, you can go ahead and continue stitching. So the pattern for the stitching is the same. You're gonna stitch twice, wrap 5 times. And just a reminder, so I'm gonna make sure that everyone understands this. When you're stitching, you're always stitching 2 coils together, the bottom one and the top one. So every time you add a new row, you go up with your stitch. So if you were stitching, maybe she was stitching down here, her last row, now we're stitching up here. So that's something that I really want people to take away from this video, to move your stitch up as you add more rows. So I'm going to stitch twice. So this is 2, and now I'm going to wrap. If I decided that this was the end of my bowl, even though I know it's not, what you would do is tie a knot on the back of the bowl. So I would love to demonstrate this with Sylvia's bowl, but she's not finished right now, so I don't want to ruin her side. So what I'm gonna do, when someone is getting close to finishing, I can add another video of how to end your bowls. So I hope this was helpful. Good luck working over break, and I can't wait to see what you guys make. Have fun.